Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking an absolutely monumental climax in one of history's most fascinating spiritual journeys. We're zeroing in on that exact pivotal moment when Queen Bilqis, the legendary Queen of Sheba, stands in the court of Prophet Sulaiman and experiences a profound awakening. This isn't just some dusty story about ancient royalty. It's a really deep look into faith, personal transformation, and what actually happens when ultimate worldly power bows to divine truth. Let's get right into it.
So, think about this for a second. When a queen changes her faith, what happens to her empire? It's one thing for a single person to go through a spiritual awakening, right? But what happens when that specific person holds the destiny of an entire nation in the palm of her hands? That's the exact monumental shift we're exploring today. We're looking at that massive pivot from a deeply personal realization to an immense empire-wide consequence.
Part 1. The Light of Monotheism.
Okay, let's dive into this setting. Our sources describe Prophet Sulaiman's court as just radiating this profound, almost palpable spiritual peace. When Queen Bilqis finally acknowledges the oneness of Allah, it's like a luminous, ethereal atmosphere settles over the whole court. It is the absolute completion of her invitation to the truth, and this brilliantly illustrates the sheer magnitude of her transformation. On one hand, you have her past, the darkness of polytheism, literally generations deeply rooted in sun worship. For centuries, that was all her people knew. But then you contrast that with her new reality, the light of monotheism. Prophet Sulaiman gently guided her out of those shadows. And the thing is, she didn't just casually accept a new idea. Those old, deeply entrenched beliefs, completely uprooted from her heart. A total paradigm shift.
Moving on to Part 2, Sulaiman's Golden Advice.
Now, with this newfound faith, the queen desperately needed guidance on how to move forward. Prophet Sulaiman didn't just, congratulate her and send her on her merry way. Instead, he offers a perspective that is absolutely central to all our source material here. He tells her a kingdom is not just a dominion, it is a trust, an amana from Allah. Sulaiman is teaching her, and honestly, by extension, teaching all of us, a universal lesson about power. Authority is not about dominance. It's not about wealth or just doing whatever you please. Every single form of power you hold is a divine trust. You're a caretaker, not an absolute owner.
He actually builds on this concept with a totally new definition of success. He explains that a king's greatest success is guiding their people to the right path. Think about how her mission just entirely changed. Before this, success might have been measured in, say, gold, expanding borders, or sheer military might. But now, Sulaiman is telling her that her true ultimate purpose as a ruler is to take this newfound guidance and share it with her subjects. Her personal salvation was really only step 1. Her royal duty to her people, that was step 2.
Which brings us to Part 3, the return of the throne and the miracle.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that before this massive philosophical shift could even fully settle in, there was a tangible, miraculous event that completely cemented her absolute conviction. She sees her magnificent throne miraculously transported to Sulaiman's court. It was the ultimate physical proof of the divine power she had just submitted to. And she immediately translates her new faith into action. First, she fully recognizes Allah's unparalleled power. Second, and remember all those lavish royal gifts she originally brought to impress and negotiate with Sulaiman? Well, she didn't need them for diplomacy anymore. She donated them entirely to Allah's path. And third, she dedicated her vast wealth to the welfare and betterment of her people. Her new faith literally turned into instant philanthropy and public service. It's a real game changer.
Part 4. The beginning of a new queen.
So, as she prepares to leave Sulaiman's court, we witness a fundamentally transformed leader. She is just not the same person who arrived. First off, a deep, reverent fear of Allah has totally replaced her former earthly anxieties. Second, she now harbors this burning desire for justice and equity for her people. And third, we see the complete abandonment of her pride and worldly power. She's no longer the queen who prided herself solely on military might or vast riches. Her crown is now worn with absolute humility. She's a ruler whose heart truly aches to do what is right.
Part 5. Return to Sheba.
With this internal revolution complete, it was time to go home. Her journey back to Sheba begins. But just imagine the scene for a second. She is returning not as a conquered monarch, but as an enlightened one. The sources describe this profound sense of peace and deep satisfaction just radiating from her face as she travels back to her lands. She returned home with her palace, her rule, and her life completely submitted
to Allah.
So the crucial point is, this was an extraordinary homecoming because she wasn't just bringing back treaties or trade agreements. She was bringing the fundamental message of Islam back to an entire empire. She knew her responsibilities had multiplied exponentially. Every single aspect of her reign was now going to be under the banner of divine instruction.
And finally, Part 6, Lesson and the Next Phase.
As we look at the overarching narrative of this historical event, we really have to pause and reflect on what this epic spiritual journey actually teaches us. The story of Prophet Sulaiman and the Queen of Sheba isn't just ancient history. It's a timeless blueprint for spiritual awakening and righteous leadership. And here's the core moral takeaway, perfectly distilled. When a human heart genuinely opens to the truth, Allah guides it. It didn't matter that she was raised a sun worshipper. It didn't matter that she possessed immense, completely distracting wealth and worldly power. Her heart was sincere, she sought the truth without arrogance, and she was guided perfectly to the right path. It is just a remarkably warm and hopeful message about human potential and divine guidance.
But of course, as we know from history, a leader's realization is really only half the battle. Did the Queen's people accept Islam so easily? I mean, she's returning to a nation deeply entrenched in ancient polytheistic traditions. Are they going to follow their queen into this new light, or is there going to be massive resistance? And what exactly is the next major event in the incredible life of Prophet Sulaiman? It leaves us with a huge cliffhanger, and honestly, it's a fascinating question that challenges everything we know about power and belief. I really hope this explainer has illuminated this incredible piece of history for you and leaves you absolutely eager to uncover what happens next.